If you have been watching my videos for a while, you have seen a type of box like this before, and that's only because CoLight has been sharing their products with me for me to review and for me to show you how to install them and for you to give you a glance of how these lights are going to be looking in your bike. So essentially, we're going to be installing LED mini driving lights on my FZ-09 today. This is a perfect way for me to improve the visibility on my bike, and especially on this season where I'm actually turning my bike into a dual sport bike. So I will unbox it right now and show you what's inside. And so I want to say thank you to CoLight for sending these lights, and I'm going to review them and I'll show you the lights on the bike as quickly as we're done with this installation. Instructions and information. 2 mini LED, wire harness and remote, and the decoder. Brackets to install the mini LED, and hardware. Alright, so even before I do the electric installation, I think the most important thing is just to find where can you position these lights on your bike. So I gravitated to the mount they provided, which has a lot of adjustment, and it seems like it's for a bar. So anybody with a trellis frame and some sort of like bars on the front of the bike, they will definitely benefit from it. So what I'm going to be doing is just utilizing this type of mounting point to use it potentially in an area like this, where that's exactly where I want the bike, where it's not obstructing or making the bike wider, such as putting it in here. So I'm just gonna keep it within the same width of the bike. And I'm also going to be leveraging these bars that I'm pretty conveniently, I guess, already installed on the bike, just to make the installation as simple as possible. But of course, use your imagination, and as you can see, there's a few points where you can orient this light. So you can see there's holes, threaded holes actually, in multiple places in the actual body of the light. And the intention is that you have multiple ways to install them, and that holes are going to be matching with these holes right here. That also will give you a little bit of adjustability, because these are kind of larger than the actual threaded hole in here. So once you get the final place or position, then you can actually move them up and down, or front to back, which might be a different situation depending on where on the bike you're going to be installing these lights. Something super important that I didn't talk about, it's the fact that there's this decoder as well as this remote that's separate from the system, meaning like this is not gonna stay in the bike, this is just gonna stay with you, or you can position in a place in the bike. So why do we have this? Essentially, this has the ability to have multi-functions, so you can actually control the whether or not you want them or on or off. You can change the lighting, and you can also go into a strobe mode where they're just going to be flashing. So something super nice, that I'm really looking forward to share with you and see how they look on the bike, but just something to keep in mind. I like to start by removing the seat and then tracing or putting the components very close to where I think the components are going to be, based on where I decided to install the mini LED, and then where I think the controller box is gonna go. So at this point, I'm just gonna extend the cables and try to look for a route, which in this case I'm going to end up kind of lifting the tank, just so I can run the cables and find the best way where I can hide the cables and then make them accessible to the LEDs. Alright, so now with the cables, they route them the way I want them. So I make sure that they're not obstructing anything in here. So I feel pretty comfortable with, with having the cables where they are. So it's very important to grab, your hardware you're going to be using for the installation. And then, for example, if you're going to go with this one, CoLight actually provides you with these, cushions that are going to be helping you to have better traction and avoid this whole assembly just to kind of be rotating. So I'm expecting the lights to be under as opposed to over, but I guess it doesn't matter because I can determine that later. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna open up a little bit this in here. So I'm just gonna go here. And okay, I need to open it a little bit more. Now it's a little bit wider. I can probably, okay, I can probably just open it up a little bit more too. So they actually provide you with some hardware as well, so you can use them. It's part of the kits, perfect. So I'm just gonna mock it up. I can do this. Oh, you know what? I think I'm actually pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to be doing is just undo this mount. Now that I chose to put the lights this way, I'm going to take the bolts that are provided in the kit. Okay. And with the desired orientation, okay, you see how I got the bolts started. So I'm going to do the same with the other one. Okay. I'm going to leave them somewhat loose because I want to be able to have a little bit of, adjustability. This one to get them a little bit snug. We are back here. So this one has some movement, and then you're going to find what is the position. So we have this bolt running through it, which we're going to be running through these two. And now I'm just going to, okay, now that just got cleared. Perfect. Okay. All right, every bike is different, and I'm not intending this to be a how to install this type of lights on an FZ-09, but there's an air, like, or what's supposed to be an air intake in this area, and there's a cover in here. So I routed the cable from the back, the battery. So I have the lead that's gonna go into this other lead, and then this is the lead that has the box in it. So I just was able to actually put everything into that box. So I'm just now going to secure these cables so they stay together and somewhat, clean. I'm still gonna leave it loose, a little bit loose, just because I want to make sure that if I need any adjustment, after I go through it, I still have, my ability to move the lead around and whatnot. So now what I'm going to do is to pull the cable back, and only gonna leave the amount that I need in order to, establish the connection. So you see the 3 prongs, hopefully you can see them there. Yep. So now you are going to be matching the prongs on this side, which essentially is going to be lifting this way. And there's also a notch in here, so you can use it as a guide, and that guide is going to be going through that gap. So, okay, like so, tight, perfect. And now I'm just going to secure the cable by screwing this part on the other one. Now there's a good seal. There's a rubber insert in here as well, so it's just keeping water outside of this connection, and this is going to be protected too. So now this is ready for me to make, I guess, final for now. Okay, now this is somewhat secure, and there's going to be a cover in here. I have my cable in here connection, and then I have the other section, as you can see, going through here, which is actually on the inside of the bike. I just need to pull the cable, the excess, and then also put a couple more zip ties to some other areas that I know that are not going to leave that cable hanging or interfering with everything else. All right, so with the cables routed the way I want them, I'm just gonna pull them so I can bring the box in the back of the motorcycle, and I'm going to maybe fix it with the screw later on, but for now I'm just gonna leave it here until I complete the installation. So first couple things you have to identify on this harness is you have your red wire, you have your black wire, and then there's also something that looks like this antenna, and this antenna is for that remote that we were talking about first. So this blue cable is actually coming from the box as well. Will be indeed tapping into your headlights just to add power to the whole system, and it's a preventive, way to, keep your lights actually working. So I'm just gonna be now, with the help of my tester, just looking for what is that cable that's going to be powering the headlights only when the key is on, so I can tap into that cable now. So I'm just now going to go ahead and undo the negative and the positive. Let's just start with positive here. Make sure that nothing else is touching and that you are running the cable in a way that is going to be out of reach of anything when you have your seat on. And now, okay, connected the negative as well. Actually, I'm gonna run it better this side so I can have, it feels more natural the way the box is gonna be connected in the back. This is a super important step. Here I'm actually looking for what is the cable that has power only when I turn on my bike, and it's actually responsible for turning on the headlight. This is the cable that I'm going to be intervening with, that blue cable that I mentioned before. All right, I'm excited now with everything installed, but of course just always leaving some space for final checking or movement or whatever. So I don't want to put everything permanent besides, until I can confirm that it actually works. So I'm actually pretty excited. So here goes nothing. I'm just gonna get it started and see how it works. Okay, so like I said, these are here. They're still wobbly because I'm still waiting for final position, but let's do this. All right, so I'm not expecting them to turn on right now, but I do have the remote. And if I'm not mistaken, this is on. Ooh, nice. I love that. So that's the yellow one, of course. And I have to go through the instructions so I can tell you exactly how they change. But then I can just go through white, and then I can do both. So I have yellows and whites right here. This is with, this button right here. And then I can go to yellow again, which is the first one. And this is the cool thing. If I hit, like I said, this is the on, then you go through the different lights that you have in here. And then if you click this one, look what happens. This is amazing. I love it. Okay, so I decided that I was going to be repurposing the bracket that's holding the brake, or the clutch lever for that matter. So I'm just going to be undoing the top bolt. Essentially, I haven't tried it, but yep, perfect. It just goes through. So what I'm going to be doing for now is just to keep it in here. I will see how, effective and this is now on the bike. I'm guessing that the company also give you enough metal in here, because I can probably determine that if I want it in here, but maybe I want it facing backwards, not backwards, but like facing up, I can probably do that as well. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it in here. So this is a place where it's not obstructing my view. It's not getting in the way of me, accessing any controls. I can still have access and nothing is getting in the way. And I can just have easy access to the buttons. And they're closer to where I normally, maneuver with either, the turn signals as well as the high-lows on my headlight.